Now let's welcome to the channel the lad behind the camera, the former Sheffield United videographer who's created some of the best content during the best times that most of us have had as Sheffield United fans. He is a very talented gentleman with a hell of a lot of fantastic stories from his time behind the scenes at Bramall Lane. Terence, aka T, aka TDX, how are you doing, mate?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
I'm very, very good, thank you. And that was a mouthful. So I'm going to take a little bit of a breath, ask you a question, and let you talk. So, how did you end up working for Sheffield United, mate?
I just finished off the Chris Eubank Jr. versus James 𝗍𝗿𝗄𝐿 show for ITV. By that time, I was just getting a bit drawn out with boxing because I was just traveling up and down the country all the time. Wanted to be closer to the kids, and then the guy who looks after my sports career, if you want to call it, my mentor, Richard Poxon, comes up one day and says, United are looking for a videographer. And in my head, I just said, I'm having it. Obviously, loads of people had to apply, but I just already had it in my head, I'm getting that job. So I did this fancy little thing and said, yeah, come and grab me. And yeah, they were interested.
Do you know what? I want to see that fancy little thing. Do you still have that fancy little thing?
Yeah, I've got it somewhere. Some little picture, colourful PDF thing I did, yeah. Well, it might have been a bit more like the resume was all right, weren't it? So
yeah,
I don't think it was just a document, but yeah.
Have you always been a Blade then?
Yeah, like United's my local team. Like my memory or my introduction was United was the youth projects. So to be honest, I didn't really know much about sports, but that's more my childhood and upbringing. I was quite sheltered from all of that. So I knew Sheffield United as doing all the community projects. So that was my first love of United, and then the football and everything was introduced to me. So I've always had like a very, very strong love for United, but I can't lie, Arsenal is my team.
Right, okay.
Sorry to say that, but man's a gunner.
Man's a gunner. Well, as long as you're some part of you's a Blade, then I think we'll be happy about that. And you've done some great
it's definitely
stuff.
my local team, and after working there and actually going to war with them, if you will, like, because as much as the players have got their own grind, it's a bloody grind and a half for the marketing team as well. So to kind of go through that with the club and then the relationships I built, man, it's definitely given me a strong love for United. It won't go.
Love to hear that. So, looking at some of the projects that you've done, what do you think is your favorite? And well, some of your favorites, because I'm sure you've got more than one favorite.
Mate, I think I'll try and separate them in terms of hype videos. I'm caught between. There's that one I did for Chelsea in the Premier League when we was away, and it had all the JPEGs and it was a bit stop motiony and had that funky little beat to it. I did a video for Ollie McBurney with all the tweets and stuff, the Scarface type thing. I enjoyed that one. And then for, I think the other two after that would be the season ticket video we did that had, with Paul Heckingbottom, it had that story. Guy was walking through the streets at night time. That was eventful. And then the kit shoot we did for this, because that's when we got given full responsibility. That was literally me and Jake on our own. That was a madness, man. We had to, that was fun. And then maybe in terms of podcasts and stuff, the Billy Sharp, one of our own podcasts, is probably one of my favorite because of how open he was. And my Sanderberg documentary when he was injured, the recovery.
Yeah, I remember most of these things. I really do, because you do strike a nerve with fans, and it's so nice to see all the fans kind of getting behind all the content. Because don't get me wrong, we weren't the first team to do things like this, but you certainly took it to another level, because when we went into the Premier League, the stuff that you were pumping out were better than some of the bigger clubs that I'm assuming had massive budgets.
And teams as well, because I think my manager told me once, like, Liverpool's got up to 140 staff in their marketing team. If you look at Arsenal, they've got like 5 to 10 just video people. And then here we was our little team of 5. I'm the only videographer, and yeah, it's good though. It's nice. It kind of just makes you realize how impactful you are. It's nothing resented. It was more like In fact, for me, that whole entire season, because there wasn't no real new plan, it was new to United, new to the team, everything was new, so there was no plan. My mentality was, I don't care who you are. Like, similar to, because one of my things I like to do when I work in sports, so when I was boxing, I'd do boxing training, I'd spar. I've sparred with a couple of professionals, so I can actually feel, do you know what it's like to be in their shoes? And I like to adopt the mentality. So when I was working with like Mayweather, for example, he's very relentless, you know, in what he does. And there was one time behind the scenes, I seen him having a go at his videographer, and he pointed at me. He's like, "Man, you need to be going off like that." Like proper went off on one. And it taught me like you've got to match the tenacity of the people you're working with. So you can appreciate with United in that first season, like they don't care. Arsenal, what? Liverpool, what? Like, so it's kind of I adopted that same mentality, you know, in marketing. Because obviously Wilder at the time as well, he don't care who you are, don't care what your name is, don't, do you know what I mean? So that's the same type of mentality I took into marketing. So whereas others were a bit like, "Ooh, what we gonna do?" I was a bit like, "Sod him."
Do you know what? I love hearing this because a lot of people watching this video right now might not necessarily be as into all this stuff as kind of like I am, because I'm in marketing as well. I'm clearly doing this channel as well. So I think we've got a lot to talk about off camera as well, because I am just interested in everything that you're saying.
No,
Before we move on, when you said about sparring and stuff like that, getting into the zone, did you ever play football with the lads?
yeah, like there's a couple of moments while they kind of put it on my toes, like how's your touch, which was terrible, by the way. Like I'm not the best footballer. I'm just quick. And then obviously the staff games. Do you know what? Can I just, you know, when fans are getting on players for not doing certain things and the legs are gone, I challenge anybody to run around that pitch for 20 minutes and tell me you won't be blowing out of your ass. Well, everybody's human, man. So when you see them runs, like I know what it takes out of you to make that run happen, to sprint from here, there, and wow.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about some of the players, because I think a lot of people know you from being behind the camera, see you every now and then, but mostly it's your voice that people heard with the behind the scenes videos. You must have spent quite a lot of time with the players in this time. So who is your favorite players to work with, and who do you like the most?
I don't have a favorite player. Like literally again, once you go through something with a squad, like obviously I'm not gonna say names or everything because obviously it's their own personal personalities, this, that, and whatever. But you start to learn that it's not so much a who's better than who type thing. It's more their personal characters. Like some are just very, I like to keep myself to myself, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some have their own motives, whether they, you know, why they want to be more in front of camera for sponsors and stuff like that. But overall, there isn't a favorite, man. Everybody was respectful, not just the players, from the cleaners right up to the owners. You know, Betis, like anybody in any department, I had a pretty good relationship with. So I can't sit here now and say who my favorite was because I had a little something with everybody that I valued. So you know what I mean, and all of it helped me produce what I did.
I think anybody from Sheffield United right now you've kind of had a relationship with in the past will be very happy to hear you say that.
Some things that happen, it's not so much a personal thing against you. Decisions had to get made very quickly, and not everybody can be happy with that decision. But again, it's not personal, so I'm not gonna sit here now and say such and such is an idiot because I didn't like. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just can't do it, man. Like I gotta respect everybody for the position they've got, man. Because my God, it's hard until you've been there and you've seen. Obviously, I can't give the finer details, but when you see people trying to make things happen, you have a different appreciation for what they do. If you flash back a couple of years ago, I remember a lot of you guys wasn't very happy, but a couple of years later now you kind of see things going to fruition. And I've had to be there for ages, just holding my mouth like, just give it time, give it time, give it time. And then yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, because I think a lot of people weren't very happy with Paul Eckenbottom being put in charge, and I think we all now that we've seen him in action, we understand why that decision was made. And maybe that should have been made instead of 𝗍𝗍 𝗂𝐺, but you can't turn back the clock and undo things. But anyway, let's kind of move on from that just for a second, but go back to kind of like the behind the scenes videos, because during the Premier League season, or the second Premier League season, should I say, because the first one was all fine, all rosy. We're winning loads of games, doing really well before the pandemic. The second season, what I did notice was a lot of kind of behind the blades being filmed and not many making it to air. So I'm assuming that there was absolutely loads and loads of fantastic content that never came out. And I understand why they didn't come out as well, because I know what fans are like you've just said a minute ago. Fans, if we're showing, I don't know, 𝗍𝗍𝗄𝐺 dancing around in the changing room after we've just lost 4-0, which players are human beings after all. They've got to be able to switch off from football. So I understand that, and I understand why they weren't put out. But have you got any absolutely fantastic nuggets that never made it to air?
There's absolutely loads, but then as a content creator, like what you've just said, you have to be mindful of perception and how people take it. I made an effort to try and show the human side of the players and getting in every little nook and cranny, but then you have to remember how the fans are going to take it, and again, remember how new that kind of media was to Sheffield United. So a lot of people couldn't separate media from football, or because somebody did like a funny little dance or something, they take it like the head's not switched on in the game. So it was difficult. There was multiple reasons why those things didn't come out, but I don't think that'd happen again now. Like, I can't speak for them, I'm not there, but I don't think that happens so much now, because I think people understand more. It's separate. We've got our job to do, they've got their job to do, but they are human. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like that same relationship that they've all got. They like that, whether they're winning or losing. That's how they keep each other, you know, together. They've got their own little relationships, but you just got to be careful how you show that. And on top of that, you don't want to, again, like I said earlier, some players don't like being in the limelight like that. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not gonna throw them under the bus or anything or hot them up, but some are more characters than you think, but they just don't want that to be seen, and that's fine.
The thing is, mate, like you're saying, you don't want to throw them under the bus, but everybody's different. Everyone's got different personalities. So if you don't want to be in front of camera, it's fair enough, really.
And that's where you start seeing the content that I'd get as well, because I had a very strong trust from the players. I'd protect them. I'm still going to protect them now. Like, I know loads, but I'd never, you know what I mean? Hence why they were so happy for me to get so close, because they'll know I'll do what I need to do to protect them also.
Also, there must have been some edits that you've done that maybe didn't go down as well as some others. Like, in your head, you're thinking, this is class content, and then the fans have just kind of switched it the other way. Is there anything that you can think of right now where that's happened?
There's not been many, to be honest. Like, a lot of the frustrations will more come from results as opposed to the actual content itself. No, and to be fair, again, like I said, we're a small team. So for you, where Behind the Blades might come out and you're deep into it, by the time I finished Behind the Blades and handed it over, like, I forgot about it, because now I have to deal with the next thing. So I didn't actually watch a lot of content until after I left, and that's why I've left it so long before doing something like this, because I just wanted to chill, reflect, even hold myself accountable, for myself. And now I can kind of speak about it more from a fair point of view, if we'll say that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I've got one to bring up with you. I don't know if this was you, and I'm not sure how you'll take this or how you want to respond, but I remember 𝗍𝗍 coming back from injury and it being kind of like outside of his Lambo in a car park or something like that. Does this ring any bells?
The Rolls
Is it a Rolls Royce? I don't think that went down as well as what you probably perceived to.
No, but if that goal went in, it'd have been a whole different story.
Which goal are we talking about? I think.
Well, you remember he came off the bench, and then it was right in front of the thing, and it skied. Like, it was literally.
Is this West Brom away?
I can't remember the game, but it landed to him nice, and it should have gone in, and it went up, and it carried on going up.
I think this is West Brom away. I remember that when we had about 3,000 chances, by far the better team, and somehow lost 1-0. It was one of them games where it's like, yeah, this is probably one of them seasons where nothing's going to go right. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
That was an example of like the trust I'd built, and again, everything was new. Do you know what I mean? So there was no plan of anything. So a lot of it was trial and error. You notice after that there was never really a hype video to say players are coming back again.
Yeah.
And that was also to take pressure off the players as well, because you can imagine when you've been hyped up like that, you kind of, it's like all eyes on you, innit? So that was a lesson. Even that was a lesson more for myself. I didn't really push for it after that because it was a bit. That's when I moved more to doing the 𝗍�ស៊𝗃 documentary. So it's a piece that's got more context, and if he comes on and doesn't have the best performance, it's not going to be received the same way. You do a big hype like that with Rolls Royce and all of that type of stuff, and yeah, it kind of, yeah.
The thing is, if it had gone well, then everyone would have loved it. Absolutely loved it. But
That's
I think
the gamble. That's the gamble, and that's my mentality. Yeah. Like others will be like, "Oh, shall we? Shan't we?" I'm like,
let's do it. Absolutely, absolutely. You keep talking about the 𝗍𝗍𝗃𝗺 coming back from injury, but what I want to talk about is 𝗍𝗍𝗃𝗺's first day at Bramall Lane when he was in Chris Wilder's car. Was that all you as well?
No, it's obviously that's a mixture of the team. Like everything is not all me. Do you know what I mean?
No,
like
I understand that.
Like my manager was, I can believe it, but like my managers had so much trust in me, man. I can't, like, I've got to be so grateful for that. And they kind of refined me, my raw talent, and you know, put creativity versus practicality, and encouraged me to, you know, kind of push the barrier a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it created a balance. So with the content I was creating, I think it made it a bit easier for things to be pitched. Yeah, that came about for a mixture of reasons. And then when you're making a signing like that, I think it will kind of, you have to make the most of it you can. Well, I was a big thing at the time, weren't it? You know what I mean? So
it was so wholesome, that video. It really was. Chris driving him around and the camera catching everything.
It was last minute though. Like the clearance for it didn't come until last minute, but understandably, there's a lot of concerns and there's a lot of politics around stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
deadline day was going crazy for everything around that time. So yeah, it was interesting. It did feel very wholesome though.
Yeah, those were the days when we used to be throwing 10s, 20s, 25 millions at players, which was fantastic to be a part of. Even though, yeah, some of them didn't quite come off as much as what we wanted them to. Do you still speak to some of the players, by the way?
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna tell you who, but
no, you don't need to tell me who.
It's again, no, but it's nice though. It's like for me, to a lot of fans, obviously, they'd give the right arm to just meet some of these players or just to be able to. So the fact that some still checking on me, they ask about my kids and like,
that's nice.
Just, yeah, I appreciate it a lot. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I like to keep that. I'm not one of them guys where it's like, oh, look at me, I know this and I know this person and that person.
Yeah,
like how they are with me, I value. Like I don't talk to as many of them as much as I should, but obviously I've got my own career that I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
But I do value the relationships I've built, man. It is nice that they still, and they'll come out of the blue sometimes and be like, "Oh, how you doing?" So it's like, yeah, man, appreciate that.
Nice. Is there any stories about opposition players or managers? Because obviously, lots and lots of great players came to Bramall Lane in that first and second season, but the second season wasn't as enjoyable. So, is there anything that you could tell us about opposition players or managers that kind of piqued your interest?
There's a couple of moments. I think it was nice though to see the especially in that first season, you know, when all these big names are coming. I think that was mind blowing for me. Not so much getting starstruck, but it's more, wait a minute, like Salah is playing football on Bramall Lane football pitch, like, and wait a minute, we're holding Liverpool up at Bramall Lane. Like, what the hell is this? Do you know what it's more that Liverpool game sticks to mind as one of the best, you know, the best matches, the sound of the stadium. That's another thing that comes to mind. The atmosphere of Bramall Lane is something like I've been to a lot of stadiums, mate. That is incredible. Them fans, yo, them Blades fans are incredible, man. Like I've been in the stands a few times and just it's nuts, man. It was always interesting to see the lack of fear that the United players had. Like no fear,
Yeah.
none.
I think that's one of the reasons why all the pundits took to Sheffield United, because it were like all these players that have played in kind of League One and even League Two, some of them, like for instance 𝗍𝗍𝗿𝗏 and Lundstrom coming through and playing up here when everyone thinks that this is their ceiling. It was incredible to watch.
I think they're some of the funnier memories. Like when, what was it, that guy on, was it ESPN or something, that were talking?
Oh yeah, I literally watched that the other day. I think was it Steve Nicol, where he was like Scottish bloke.
Yeah, and it was fun to be able to take those moments and kind of make it into a great little funny hype. But it was also interesting to see the response from the whole club, not just the players. The whole club's like, yeah, all right then, all right, we'll show you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think the energy, if I'm going to say anything that really stuck to mind, that energy that we do not care. Like you're coming to Bramall Lane, mate. Like not welcome to our stadium. Like there was none of that. It was, yeah, mate. You know, until the whistle's gone at the end of that 90 minutes, you're note to me. Do you know what I mean? Like it would, nice energy to see.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why Blades fans loved Chris Wilder so much, because when we went up with Warnock, the first time in my lifetime anyway, going into the Premier League, it felt like he just wanted to rub shoulders with like Sir Alex Ferguson and Mourinho and people like this, whereas Wilder were like going for the throat every time.
Mate, there was no, there was none of that. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a few managers that I've had to go to Wilder in not even Heke. Do you know what I mean? Like whoever's got that mentality, they've had to go and pay the respects. In fact, that's when I remember Jurgen Klopp after a game going in after a game, and he had nothing but praise. He couldn't believe it. He was in shock. He could not believe that performance came from this little club. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've seen in the post match as well, he had a lot of praise for the players and everything. Do you know what I mean? So to see that, I used to enjoy that. Do you know, when the manager and players come and they get off that bus and they're like, yeah, no, this, blah, blah. And it happened for the first few games, and then you start seeing it calm down a bit. Everyone's like, this is going to be easy. And then they're having to jump back on that bus with tail between the legs. Like, yeah, this is Bramall Lane, mate. This ain't this is Sheffield. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. One question that I wanted to ask you earlier on that I didn't was, I know you don't want to say who your favorite people are, but who are the funniest people? You've got to admit there are some funnier players than others. Is Ollie McBurney up there? Is Chris Basham up there?
Ollie McBurney is high up there.
Yeah.
Chris Basham's hilarious. But they'll be funny in different ways. Do you know what I mean? It's like, obviously, your Sharps and all of that. You can already tell who the thingy characters are. But then some guys are very funny on the pitch. Like, Ender Stevens is hilarious. He's hilarious.
I've never heard that before.
Hilarious. Do you know what I mean?
Hilarious.
Flecker's got his moments. He's good for little one-liners that just come out, because it's so unexpected. It just makes it funnier. Do you know what I mean? Like I says, there's a lot of characters that you don't actually see, but like, yeah, definitely Ollie's up there. Basham's high up there. Brewster's a funny one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what's going on, he's always there for everybody as well, man. So like, yeah, definitely a few. Wes, oh my god, man.
Does the League One Wes thing actually go round the dressing room as much as what we think it does?
Yeah, he'll banter it himself. Like,
yeah,
he's got such a strong mentality. It's and they can all make fun of themselves as well, man. I've not really seen an entire squad be able to do that and then banter each other about it as well, and it not impact. It actually improves how they perform rather than making anybody go into a shell. Like, it is a good chemistry they've got.
Yeah, fantastic. Great to hear that. And finally, what are you up to these days, mate?
Well, because I did that much at United, like it was even on my own part, like I really pushed I really pushed the barrier. Like that first season, I think between all the goal graphics I did, you know, them locomotion things we were doing at the time,
Yeah.
hype videos. I think I managed to hit a hype video for nearly every game, behind the blades for every nearly game, inside 𝗍 �恵𝐺. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're kind of like an individual videographer, it can take a lot out of you. So after I left, I've not touched video since, to be honest. Not many of them.
Do you feel a bit burnt out?
I was extremely burnt out. But I left it a while because I had to learn how to articulate it, because it's not like the club burnt me out or this, that, and whatever it was. Man, it was so exciting. Like, and there was just some things you had to jump on, you know, because it was just not done before at United, and we're just trying to figure out what to keep, what to get rid of, what will the fans like, and because it's not been done before, you kind of have to do it, you know, before you know. I think that's how I reflecting back. That's how I take my time at United. You know what I mean? It was a lot of finding the way, and what you're seeing now is a lot of it settling down. You found out what's worth. A lot of lessons were learned over the first 2 or 3 seasons, and I think now it's really starting to come into a solid, regular. It's got its, you know, its structure now. But it was a burnout. A lot of it's down to my own mentality. So I learned since leaving, like, I'm slightly on the spectrum, but I never knew. So it kind of explained a lot of my actions, mentality, and approach towards certain things. Any challenge, I take it. Do you know what I mean? You say anything, oh, should we have a go at this? Let's go. Do you know what I mean? There was one story, like one of my colleagues showed me this video, and it had a little bit of green screen, and obviously we didn't have the resources because we didn't know everything we needed. But I'm a resourceful person, so I've ended up printing off a bit of green paper off a printer, stuck it to a bit of cardboard. Which video was that?
That don't work, surely.
It did. Which hype video was it? It was a hype video, and I was going through laptops and phones and stuff.
Oh, I love that sort of stuff.
And then what was it? Robbo, he's done a little thing where he's running and he holds the phone, and then I make something go through the phone. That was literally just a green color thing that I downloaded, and I've just put it on phones and on cardboard. And we just went around the training stadium and just did it. So we just, if we didn't have the budget, we found a way, and like that was mad fun for United, but it was a burnout because you're having to go above and beyond to make something very simple happen. But yeah, there's little things like that. Just print a bit of paper off and thingy, mate, and just chroma key it.
The chroma key, I love it. Absolutely. No one will understand watching this what chroma key means, but I do.
Well, we did. So it was like I hit burnout. So since then, I've kind of and then obviously that season where we wasn't really winning, I couldn't do a lot of hypes and whatever. So I felt a bit creatively not silenced, but I couldn't do what I needed to do. I wasn't getting that release, which was kind of impacting me because I'm not really bothered about money and stuff. I just love creating. So since leaving, I've just gone messing about in the music studio. I've started doing events again, DJing, you know, getting back into my original loves that got me to video again. Getting re-inspired, new ways of doing stuff, you know, just all stuff. Obviously, I've still got the odd clients with you know, digital content, and as of recently, I'm about to sign a couple of deals with video-based stuff. So I'll be doing content for a couple of players and stuff soon, which obviously I can't say nothing about that now. And then after building my event, I've just managed to sign. Oh well, today I'm signing another deal for a sponsor, you know, to back the events I've been doing, because they find them quirky and creative and a bit different, and you know what I mean. So if anybody wants to party, you know what I mean, party. So yeah, eventually though this year I will be getting into more digital content, but more as a freelancer.
And you put a lot of your stuff on your Twitter, don't you? Do you want to just give your Twitter a shout out just in case anyone hasn't followed you already?
Yeah, everything's TDX Campbell on every social media, but I don't actually show nearly as much as I do. Like, I am pretty contrary to belief or what people may assume. Like, I don't share a fraction of, you know, what I do, who I've met. Like, I've got loads of pictures with people, and I mean, you've seen my social media. I don't really, oh, look at me. Do you know what I mean? I guess that's why my algorithms are a bit lower than they should be. I mean, if I started posting everything, I could have a few more thousand followers, but I'm just chill, man. I respect their privacy, and I'm not really here for the hype type stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You're just hyping them up. You're not hyping yourself up.
Yeah. Like I did enjoy that. You know, I was proud of that. You know what I mean? Being able to lift the club, like that made me feel good. It's the way United were getting spoken to, like we're just some little idiot club, and then yeah, you had to respect us, didn't you? Like from the players down to the media. I think I've had every single football club in the country. One of their content creators have contacted me at some point, you know, to say they've taken from what we've done or they're inspired, and that's
Yeah.
what I love. I love inspiring, and a lot of my followers are other content creators. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I don't know whatever that is that it is that I've got, but whatever that it is that people like, man, I'm happy it inspires. I'll say that
I
much.
think that's the perfect way to finish. Thank you very much for joining us today. I bet a lot of Blades have really, really enjoyed listening to you speak, and hopefully we'll see you at Bramall Lane again.
I've still got a season ticket. Like
Oh, fantastic.
I'm just not always on the live and that when I'm there. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but I've got my thing in family stand, you know. Like
Come on.
still it's nice now because it's funny, do you know when you work there and you can't really react how you want to react? And now I can be in stands acting like a madman. Like so I'm one of y'all now, and it's
Oh,
nice.
I love that. I love that. Absolutely love it. Yeah, thank you very much, T, for joining us today. And yeah, we will see you very soon.
Yeah, you will, but I will say one thing: all you fans, separate football from the marketing team and let the content creators do what they're doing without giving them flack, and then you'll get more content. Because if they make more content, they can make more money and sponsor deals. Then you can get better players. So separate. So
There you go.
everyone's doing a good job, man. Big up everyone at Sheffield United. Thank you for the opportunities. Thank you for building me to the level creative I am now. Like I've got to give, definitely got to give credit. Owners, Betis, my managers, my team. You know what I mean? You've helped me able to develop. Even the events I'm doing now, I learned so much from all of them guys to which I've carried that into, do you know what I'm doing now? So it's
Mm.
yeah, thank you, grateful, big up, keep building yourself as well, Sheffield United way, you know what I mean? So love, bless.